Now, all right, hello and welcome. How is everyone doing on what I hope is a fantastic June the 3rd? It's been pretty fun over here this past week. So I've been working with some friends of mine at the church who, growing up, we used to do something called Bible quizzing, and that's where we'd memorize a book of the Bible, like one of the small ones, and then they generate these questions that we could do, and we'd have a competition to see who had memorized it the best. And one of my friends is just was so into this. He was so good at memorizing it and so good at doing the quizzes and stuff, and he really wanted to do it. And so I've been working on building my own version of it. So like they kind of make these, but I just decided that I was going to make my own. So I put an ESP32 in here, and then I've been writing all the software and all the putting together all the hardware for it, and it's been a really fun time. What about you, Jeff?
Oh, I've been on vacation this past week, so
Oh,
I yeah, well, it was my birthday Friday and I thought I'd just take the week off and I was at my limit on vacation accrual hours. So if I
oh,
didn't take if I didn't take some, I wouldn't be able to gain some.
yeah. I mean, way to go for like not missing any days.
Well, yeah, we get sick leave too, so that's
Oh,
on
that's
top
that's
of
true.
vacation. So,
Do you do anything fun for your
and
vacay?
went out to eat for my birthday. Went to
Nice.
Outback. Yeah. Is
So I,
Ozzy Opre out there?
yeah, was he?
I saw a bird in the chat a little bit earlier. Just wondering if Ozzy Opre is out there. Oi, says Birdo Prey. But no, I had a good birthday. It was fun, and yeah, it was all good.
Tex
And
is
I
saying he
got my
thinks
car
that.
title finally. I
Oh,
finally paid it off.
oh, nice. That's a
Yeah.
good present.
So, yes, indeed. Bird says
And
Outback is good eating.
Texas was wondering. I think the shortest book is Jude. It's either Jude or Oh, I think it is Jude. There's one about Paul's writing to Philemon, isn't he? About his slave Onesimus, who has gone back to him after running away, and asking him to not treat him harshly, but to actually uh, treat him like a fellow brother in Christ, establishing the precedents for uh, ending slavery, at least from a moral Christian standard. It's one of the main reasons why over in Britain they pushed so hard. Like so many of the abolitionists were Christians precisely because of that letter that Paul wrote. But I'm not sure if Jude or Philemon had the shortest official.
I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
Now, Thomas
And
said
then
he heard a little bit of static on the stream. I don't know if he was kidding or not, but
it might have been because I was knocking my microphone here.
you still hear static, Thomas?
Let's see if I'm smart enough to actually turn on this.
The
Let's
other
see
thing
if
I
I'm
did
smart
last
enough
week
to
is I got
actually.
lost in the back rooms. I don't know if you've heard of that or not.
Yes, you dropped me that link, and I need to grab it because it looks
Yeah,
so
that's an
fun.
interesting game. Yeah, it's not complete. There's just 2 levels done, I think. But
And yes, Professor was frozen. That's because I had the a window up in front of it. I got rid of it, so you'll see him moving now. And
but I got
Josh, you
into the
don't hear
whole.
stat. I listened. I checked. It was only when I hit my microphone. Nice try.
Well, I got into the whole mythology of the back rooms,
Oh,
and
it's fun.
I watched the whole series on YouTube, which is great. And apparently, they're making a movie out of that series of videos.
So if you guys haven't seen this is like one of those big mysteries, kind of the internet. well, I mean, not of the internet, but like this one random person over on 4chan, I think it was,
Hmm.
because of course 4chan is where everything comes from on the internet. Uh, they posted this picture, a random photo of this room. You were looking through a doorway, and it's all yellow and dingy looking, and it had different wallpaper up,
Fluorescent
and
lights on the
and so
ceiling.
and something about this photo really spoke to people. And
Well, the
he did a
caption
clever
also,
prompt.
yeah.
So like you gotta be careful because if you're not, you might find that you step out of reality and fall into these back rooms area, and people just ran with it, kind of like the SCP Foundation.
And
Which,
literally, there are like millions of these rooms that you can fall into.
and then of course, just to add on to the creepy factor, there's some stringy creature down there. It looks like just sharp angles everywhere, and uh, this guy Kane Pixels, I think his name, Kane Pixels.
That's it.
He he does a YouTube channel of the organization that's like trying to figure out the back rooms, because if they could be harnessed, you could have this area of infinite space. It seems like, hey, no more storage problems, no more office space problems, no more housing problems. It's all there. But
Now, apparently, it's really interesting. I just found out about these back rooms in that photo, and apparently, they actually found where that photo was taken just this past week.
oh really?
Yeah,
Where
it
was
was
it?
a it trying to remember now. I think it was in South Dakota, North Dakota, at a furniture store that was being renovated back in the early 2000s.
Huh.
And
Oh,
that's why
and
you had the
Mr.
different
Lindell.
wallpaper, because each room had its own furniture and setting. They wanted to have you like kind of just picture where the furniture would be in your home. So that explained the wallpaper differences, and
Okay.
the strips along the wall toward the bottom protected the wall from the furniture when it got bumped into the wall, that sort of thing. So it kind of makes sense.
And Mr. Lindell is saying that he checked the source book in the Bible is 3rd John, which only has 219 words in the Greek language. And that's something I was going to say. Like, how do you define shortest? Like, fewest number of verses, fewest number of words. Like, what do you actually like? I don't know. It's one of those weird things. Like, how are you defining it dictates how you're going to answer it.
I'd go by the number of words myself.
Yeah, because the verses are just something we throw in later to make it more organized. And they did a pretty good job, but there's definitely times where you're like, really, you broke the sentence up there? Whatever.
No,
So,
Thomas, I'm not in a cult. I just found the topic interesting.
oh, it's super interesting. Go watch Kane Pixels. He does a great job. It's all this stuff I think is CGI, or he does a really good transition from the few parts he does with him just walking around with a camera recording to the parts where they fall through and end up in the back rooms.
Well, toward the end of the series, they actually had some other actors in the footage.
Hmm. Yeah, LG. I think you're right. It was made in
Was
Blender.
it was, yeah.
Fantastic series. Like, look, if you're here, you probably like Kane doesn't need any boost from from my channel. He is huge, but still, like, go there. Uh, it's really fun if you enjoy that kind of analog horror, creepy pasta. Not really creepy pasta. It's more analog horror, and just
Got a little
very well
Stranger
done.
Things feel from it, but I think it's better.
Um, this yeah, I think I watched a couple episodes of Stranger Things, and it didn't land for me.
Oh, I like the first season. Second season kind of lost me. I stopped watching.
Now aren't they having to de-age the characters?
Probably because the kids are so old. Uh, that started, what, 2018 or something?
I think so. And Thomas, wouldn't the shortest book be a pocket Bible? But well done, well done. So last week we watched. What was it? This week is Silent Portents.
Mhm.
Last week was By Any Means. That's what it was.
By any means necessary. You got it.
And on my rewatch, and that Union plot line just drug on for me. Like it was this weird combination of dragging on and at the same time rushing through. Because like it just really took a long time to go anywhere. And then once they finally got to when the negotiator showed up, like he had zero interest in negotiating. And it was just immediately, oh, we're doing the Rush Act. Oh, we're doing the Rush Act. Here's the Rush Act. And then it immediately resolves. Uh, so that plotline was really not great. But the plotline of Jakar and Londo was so fantastic. It made the episode such a joy to watch again. But the thing I didn't notice the first time through is at the very end, when Jakar is doing his ceremony, you see the stars rotating in the background because the station has to spin to give them gravity.
Right.
I'm like, oh, that was such a fantastic attention to detail.
And that's at the forward point in the station, that room.
One quibble I had, and you know, I forgive them for limitations of technology. The fact that they included that at all, well done. But they were not spinning on the outer wall with the station. Like for the spin to work, you have to be on the outer surface as it spins, you know?
That's true.
So they were at a stationary flat surface in the middle while everything spun. So I mean, look, you can only do so much unless you throw your actors in like a whirlybird, you know, one of those carnival rides that spin around really quick. You can't get it perfect. So the fact that they went this far, I really applaud them. That was such a tiny attention to detail that I really enjoyed.
Now, Josh Street is asking me if I'm going to tell you that sometimes the A plot is the B plot and the B plot is the A plot.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll work with that. I get what you're saying.
I think that's left to interpretation of what plot is which.
Hey, Patrick, how you doing?
Yeah, he thought this episode was going to be so important that he had to be here despite it being something like 5:30 in the morning.
Man, that is so early to wake up. I don't like it on the days I have to get up that early. And I have to say, I was a little disappointed. You know, in the middle of the thing last week, we're going over how complicated unions are and how I have this mindset that they're both super important and that they overstay their welcome quite often. And I mentioned how after I found out that the name was the act was named after Rush Limbaugh. I went, oh, you know, I enjoyed listening to him. He provided a good counterpoint for the other mainstream news outlets. You had all, like, if you look at a political spectrum of news media from back then, you'll find that everything was very left. And then you had this one Rush guy who provided things from a different perspective. And like, unlike the official news channels or mainstream news channels, he didn't pretend like, oh, I'm the central thing. Like a lot of the news stations, they try to present themselves as if they were truly neutral, and they weren't at all. And there's nothing wrong with a news station being left or right, in my opinion. Like, that's fine. But the fact that they present themselves as neutral when they're left-wing annoys me. Whereas Rush was just like, hey, I'm right-wing. I'm going to focus on right-wing topics. I make no qualms about that. I don't care about that. But I was disappointed because after making that comment, like, hey, I try and look at both sides. I try and see what people are talking about and what people aren't talking about to come to an informed decision, people are actually like, oh, wow, that's everything I need to know unsubbed. And I'm like, oh, that's so disappointing that you're missing the whole point of
Well, it's
being
their loss,
able.
Matthew.
Hmm?
It's their loss.
It is. I feel sorry for that mentality because when you immediately go, this person belongs to that camp, therefore everything they say is wrong, it sets you up to become victimized by the camp you are part of. Like they start like it's such a mindset that leads toward self-abuse. Because once they know that you're never going to fact check anything, like they can just do whatever they want to you. And it's true for both sides. Like this isn't a left wing thing that only left wingers do. It's not a right thing that only right wingers
Oh,
do. Like this is
I
something across
completely
the board.
agree.
And you gotta listen to people you disagree with an open mind and be like and just be constantly evaluating, are the beliefs I'm holding true or are the beliefs I'm holding like just nonsense?
And without giving too much away, we're going to see this type of thing come up again on this show.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I thought it was interesting, by the way, that the plot line about the Union, it has so far been the most one-sided presentation of an argument in Babylon 5 so far. Like they did a decent-ish. No, I can't even say that. It was very much one-sided. Like it was very much a from the get-go, the negotiator was a mustache twirling victim. Or not, excuse me, not victim, villain. A mustache twirling villain. Uh, and and that was the message. And it's interesting that that's the weakest one where they didn't stop to say, let's present both sides and present both of them as if they had their strengths and their flaws. It was all 100% the union workers are victims and they are being taken advantage of, and the other side is greedy corporations who just don't care about the deaths. Like, give me. I think they could have done the episode, come to the exact same conclusion, but have been more of a balanced approach, like they've done everything else so far, and it would have just skyrocketed how good this series was, or excuse me, that episode was. The series is fantastic, but that one specific plot line in the episode.
Since you said that the series is fantastic, I'm wondering what you're going to say after tonight's episode.
Ooh.
I think you're in for a doozy of an episode.
Okay. Okay. Let's find out.
I'm excited.
This is Signs and Portents, and unfortunately, you may remember last week I didn't talk much. Like relatively speaking, I was so tired. And I felt like there's so many points where I was sitting there going, man, it's been a long time since you or I said anything. And I just would be like, so I don't remember what my prediction was at all. And I didn't get a chance to try and remember.
And I didn't go back to check.
But
I'm sure Thomas or Omni or Josh Street will tell us what your prediction was.
Now Josh did say that I haven't gotten a single prediction right so far. But there is one
I don't know.
episode.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. You had one that was pretty much right on.
It was the infection one.
Yeah. That was it. Thomas says all he knows is that you were wrong.
See, Thomas, I agree with you. I'm pretty sure I was wrong in my prediction too. And that's true on me. I was close in Born to Purple. I'll give myself like a D on that one, like 60%.
Welcome, John.
But Signs and Portents, I don't know. My mind it's just so blank on whatever it was I did, but we'll find out, I guess. Like hopefully as I watch it, I go, oh yeah, that's maybe what along the lines I was thinking.
You need to pay attention this episode.
Okay, so we might not do much talking, guys. So be sure to be playing along with this.
And I do have one question for you before we do start.
Okay.
Matthew.
Yes.
What do you want?
What do I want? I want to watch Babylon 5.
But what do you want?
Is this a quote from a previous episode? Because I got a hole in my head and I cannot remember.
Let's watch it.
uh, it was. Did Jakar said it? No, what do
No.
you want, you moon-faced assassin of joy?
That's not what I was referring to, but let's watch the episode.
Okay. Um, so this is going to be Signs and Portents. As always, you are free to watch it in our watch room, which is linked somewhere in this area in the chat that way, I do believe. If you can't watch it on there, we're going to include a clip. No, excuse me, not a clip. No clips. We'll include a still frame, like one frame every 7 seconds, just so you have a reference for what's going on. My mind is blank. Matthew's motto. Thank you, Thomas. If you're watching this in the future, you cannot go to my screening room because it is only available right now during the live stream. You can buy it on Amazon. You can watch it for free with ads on Tubi.
Tubi TV. Tubi TV.
Tubi TV. And my personal recommendation, you can go buy it. Buy the DVD copy of it right there. Also, invest in your own cases.
Yes. In fact, reaching down, here's season 1. A fan made cover for it.
Oh, nice.
And that's what I did because the case on the Blu-rays is just horrible.
Yeah, so
the trays literally just fall out.
Oh, yeah, get your own cases.
But I got my own cases and got the discs in here, so
make your own backups off
1.
the DVDs you buy. Like, I cannot recommend enough physical media in this day and age. And it's a fun series, guys. So, I mean, it's well worth you wait for them to be on sale, like $75.
I think it's just regularly $75 now.
Oh, really? So yeah, definitely. Ditch Disney, well, you need Amazon Prime for everything else you do, but ditch Disney, ditch Paramount. You don't need it. Like, just buy the stuff. It's
okay. So the price did go up. It is now $79.99, but it's not $93 like it was when I bought it.
Well, I guess that's all right. Let's see. So, did I do this right? It seems like maybe I did. Yes. Okay. So we are going to go ahead and bring in the clips. And if you're watching this later, you want to sync up, I'll give you a quick countdown and we'll all hit our play buttons together. Let's do this in 3, 2, 1. Hit that play button, everyone. And hopefully, as usual, there is no sound.
Yes, please let us know if you do hear video sound.
Anyone except Josh Street, please let us know if you hear sound. Okay, so August 3rd, 2258.
And they got the day of the week wrong. It's actually a Tuesday.
There must have been a little having to fix the calendar at some point in the future.
Possibly.
Ivanova wants to know why her mouth always tastes bad in the morning, or like old carpet.
Carpet.
Okay. I might suggest that perhaps you're drinking too much the night before if your mouth smells like old carpet. But yeah, sleeping is not the problem. Waking up.
Her character's getting better and better.
Also, I liked how they showed it just for a second, but when the door shut, there was a light that transitioned that looked like a security visual indicator. Oh, the Raiders are back.
The Raiders are back.
Now, you might argue that it doesn't make much sense to have, like, in a show that's really trying to be like faithful to how physics would work in space. You might want to argue that it doesn't make sense for the Raiders to be have those little triangle flat discs because there's no atmosphere to go through. But if your goal is to have as light a mass as possible to be able to quickly come in, do what you want to do, and quickly get out, I think having a low mass object makes a lot of sense.
Well, I don't think it's too much of a spoiler, but later in this particular episode, they comment on the Raider ships that they are designed for atmosphere.
Oh.
So
okay. I mean, that works too. But I mean, if I was going to design a space vessel and I wanted it to be as light as possible, didn't care about, aerodynamics, just make it flat, make it light. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you're right. I agree with you.
Hey, Trevor Lauren, welcome to the stream. How you doing tonight? And saying they might occasionally operate in atmosphere.
Has a point.
I did see that we had one guest star who was in Deep Space Nine.
Yes, he was also in Voyager.
I missed that. Now, let's see if I can actually recognize him, because I got the name.
Okay.
But I didn't see a face with him.
I think he's more famous for being on Voyager than DS9.
Okay. I don't think it's this guy.
No.
Because, I mean, Voyager came out 4 years, I think, after this. At least season 1 did. So
actually, I think it was about a year.
We shouldn't see a big age gap between, like, he shouldn't have a lot of time to change how he looks between how he appears in this episode and how he would have appeared in Voyager. And definitely not in Deep Space Nine.
Omni, you're right. He looks very Rod Serling like. He acts like Rod Serling.
Hey, LDG. And so they're pointing out how these ships are appearing so close to Babylon 5, and that's worrying. But it's even more worrying that they're able to get in and get out. Ships that small need a jump gate, which is something I remember you mentioned to me in the past.
Yeah.
That larger ships can create their own jump gate, but the smaller ones require the wormhole, the jump gate.
Right.
And they're able
to as they enter.
Hmm?
It's hyperspace as they enter.
Okay. So they're saying that it should be like a 10-hour flight because without doing a jump gate. But instead they're able to get in and out in like 2 hours. They can't figure it out.
I think they said 4 hours.
4 hours? Okay.
4 hours to get out, but they're getting out in less than 2.
Gotcha. And Sinclair's, they're picking up the plot line that appeared with the Knights, was it?
The Knights, yep. And the Sky Full of Stars was the episode.
And just that he's starting to piece together.
Come together. Not just this, but everything seems to start coming together with this episode. So Sinclair is asking Garibaldi to check in, see if he can find out what might have happened to Sinclair during the Battle of the Line.
Londo was so fun last episode. Yoo-hoo! Ifly's FSX is saying and Soul Hunter. Is that, was there something else in the chat I missed, or I say I'm a lot
The
there.
Soul Hunter said to Sinclair that they're using him.
Mm. Apparently, this seller of used antiquities, let's say, has brought what he describes as merchandise to Londo, but Londo is saying this isn't merchandise, this is the eye, the oldest symbol of royalty.
This guy's name is Mr. Reno. I want to know how he found the eye.
And Londo, he's saying, my government paid enough to buy a small planet, but I'd like to know how you got your hands on these. And the guy says, I bet you would, or wouldn't you? Something like that.
You don't want to know. That's what he told Londo, was you don't want to know. And look who's sitting there.
Rod Sterling.
Yes.
Retro is saying that the eye is a gyroscope with plastic jewels hot glued on it. I believe it. I mean, that is that's what prop masters have to do, right?
Uh-oh.
I love the guy in the middle. Like, wouldn't this be such an awkward situation? Just imagine you're just trying to make your way on Babylon 5, this UN, near the UN, and all of a sudden you find yourself between two ambassadors who hate each other. You know, not necessarily open war situation, but can you imagine being between like the Israeli ambassador and say like someone from the Saudi Arabian ambassador? You know, they're not actively at war, but they definitely don't like each other.
The comedy is gold.
They have the most fun relationship so far. Like, clearly, these two have the deepest relationship so far.
They do.
But just
best chemistry.
Fun.
Best chemistry for sure. They hate each other, though. Yes, Retro Robot. Kiss my pouch.
Thomas says, just wait till they marry. Oops, spoilers. So, Counselor Tabar, the first circle, authorized a chat between Sterling and Jakar, but he doesn't know what it's about.
And we did catch his name. It's Morden. Mr.
Morden. We both know I'm sticking with Rod.
Yes.
Ah, what do you want?
There you go.
This is pointless. What I want is for you to go away. But Jakar's not stupid. He's like, he's starting to think, if someone the first circle authorized this conversation, this isn't just a pointless question. And what he wants is for the Centauri to be torn down, have them ground into dust. completely and utterly erase them. That's what he wants. And that's a big want.
It is.
And that's it. He leaves. Thank you for your time, Ambassador. Good day. Good eye.
Yes, Texas. Morden did seem a little disappointed.
I guess that's too basic of a want.
Could be.
That's him.
That is him.
That is Voyager. He was the Q who was trapped in an asteroid. Excuse me, comet.
Yep. Comment. Quinn.
Quinn, yes.
That was the name he used. But he was also the first hunter in Captive Pursuit on DS9. He was chasing the Tosk.
Yes. Which I definitely did not notice. Hey, here's our sign in Portent.
At least one.
So, I mean, no spoilers here, but I don't know if we've established that the Centauri have psychic abilities.
Some do. They do have telepaths. But she's more of a seer.
Fair enough, seer. And she says she sees death, the Babylon 5 on fire, destruction. Miss Lindell is saying the women do, okay.
Yes, generally speaking, that's true, Mr. Lundell.
Quinn extremely unimpressed. Oh, please forgive my aunt. She takes the role of prophetess too seriously.
So she predicted his death.
Yes, Retro. Okay, Centauri have precogs, particularly about death. I remember in either the pilot or the first episode, Londo mentioned how he knew he would die with his hands around, I think, Jakar's throat.
And vice versa.
And vice versa, yeah.
And yes, Omni, he needs hair tonic bad.
Huh.
Oh, who's this guy?
He
We've
looked
got
like
a lot going on.
The actor who played Joker. What's his name? Not Jared Leto. The really well done Joker. Came out 2019, 2020, I want to say.
I don't remember who played. I didn't see the movie. Dolores is back.
Hey! Uh-oh, her triangle's showing.
Triangle's back.
No, Mr. Lindell, not Heath Ledger.
And,
although he was an excellent Joker.
And it got all dark around Mr. Morden, Rod Serling.
And she seems to know him, not like him.
She doesn't want him around. What does it mean?
Joaquin Phoenix. Yes, Trevor Lauren.
They're here. Who's
and
here?
just that one shot. Like once he turned and you could see his face, no, but just that one shot of him in the shadow speaking into his thumb, he looked very much like Joaquin Phoenix. And yeah, that's a gyroscope.
Pretty much. I don't know if you caught it. Dolores said, "They're here."
But who?
One other thing I'll note about that scene, she was building something in her quarters.
Okay. Omni, it's not the gyroscope. It's not the merchandise. It's the eye. So the current ruler of the Centauri people is losing power.
He's been in seclusion for a while. Prime Minister's running everything.
And Quinn is talking about how the eye belongs to his family and his house. Why should he hand it over?
Yeah, Quinn's name is Lord Kiro.
Another K. Or another Q is what I meant, but it could be K. Dolores is playing Dom, building a Dom Jot table.
Maybe we'll find out what it is, Omni.
We did see Nausicaans on the station.
Of a sort.
And Kira wants Kira
Kiro.
Kira wants to know where it all went wrong, which harkens back to what Londo was mentioning in the pilot, how the Centauri used to be a proud species, and now they're like those little fish that attach themselves to sharks.
Yeah.
And the seer is searing. Yes, more portents if they.
Josh,
Ah.
Josh, I think that's another episode, if I'm not mistaken.
So they're picking up radar transmissions, but there's nothing out there, and all of a sudden the raiders show up, which certainly sounds like some of that changeling tech we saw. It must be the hour of portenting.
Indeed, John. Indeed.
And Ivanova getting out of the control room again.
Yes. There's this great use of the theme music, too.
Now, when they go to hyperspace, through the jump gate specifically, does it connect them to a very specific exit?
No. There are paths that you follow through hyperspace. There's a beacon, more or less, to an exit. You follow the beacon.
Okay. Like in Voyager with the Vaadwaur, who built the transwarp conduits.
Yeah.
So retro only big ships can open gates without a jump gate. The small ships are using.
Yeah, they make their own jump points. Ambassador Kosh. It's like Mr. Morden is avoiding Kosh.
I still like the color difference. I feel like that was a smart change. Such a small change.
It was. The CGI in this episode is a step up from prior episodes. They really did a nice job with it.
Do not mess with the Kosh.
I don't want to mess with the Kosh.
Patrick, that's true. It's kind of like how in the game Portals they used the blue and orange, which was that a nod to Babylon 5? It could be.
I think it has to do with redshift, light.
The game Portals, one of the ones that put Valve on the map, really. They had a blue portal and an orange portal
Mm-hmm.
that would connect to each other.
Right.
And I could definitely see it being a slight nod. Londo's saying, I don't have time to chat right now. I suggest you make an appointment. He goes, I did. Well, I suggest you make another one. And he wants to know, what do you want? He goes, you're a lunatic. Go pester someone else. But he's not taking no for an answer. He says, I'm not allowed to leave here until you've answered my question. He says, is that it? Is that really all? You just want to be left alone?
He's a little more pushy with Londo.
And interestingly, Londo's answering. Like, just as passionately. Like, it made sense for Jakar to be like, hey, here's this person. He's asking me what I want. He got authority from this other guy. But as far as Londo knows, this is just some random weirdo. And he's honestly answering, what I want is my
Well,
people to be powerful and strong.
he did say an appointment was made.
Yeah, but it wasn't like an appointment was made and I got permission from, this high level. It's like, yeah, you can make an appointment, but who are you?
So it sounded like Londo won a little bit more than Jakar did.
He the summary is he wants his people to be what they once were. Strong, powerful.
And yes, Omni, this is the first instance of seeing Corwin on in CNC.
So Sinclair was pointing out the oddity that the Raiders have been getting closer and closer to Babylon 5, but now they're almost a full sector away. So I was wondering what that ship has that's so different. And he's saying there's nothing here. It's hydroponic tools, farming equipment, things Kess would have been interested on Voyager, but nothing that would get a lot of money on the black market. And Sinclair's saying, "Come back. It's a diversion." And they've already mentioned that it's a several-hour journey, and that was to the close stuff. And this one's a full sector away. He's mentioning.
This is Corwin on the right. And we're going to see a lot of him from here on out.
Does he become a really active member, or is it just this is a person we have on the bridge or
Pretty much
command
he's
center?
just on. Yeah, he's just pretty much in command and control.
Okay. The same way there's a lady who's always in the pit area.
Yeah.
Or like how Miles originally started out, well, originally started out on ops, but eventually found his place in the transporter room.
And I think they were a little short on personnel at the time. They were picking up personnel at Farpoint.
So Sinclair's showing he's no fool. And they're saying the shadows are coming for him. But Sinclair's going to let him leave with a hostage just to open fire on him.
That's who she predicted would kill Lord Kiro, were the shadows.
So they're going to knock out his engines, but the smart thing he did was the jump gate can be programmed to reject ship IDs. And he's specifically mentioning that the ships are too small to create their own jump point. But there's this jump point forming anyway. And that's how the Raiders get out so fast. They had a mothership. So I don't think we've actually seen Babylon 5 take a shot yet. Like
This won't be the last.
We've had a couple episodes where they are worried about being attacked, but this is the first time I feel like they've actually. Or have they? I feel like this is the first time they've brought out the guns.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Miss Lundell is saying, would you agree that was common sense? What, that they would have had a mothership?
It makes sense.
And Texas is saying that they opened up the guns in Soul Hunter, but they didn't use them. And the shadows have come for Lord Kiro. The shadows have come for us all. I guess this is why you never answer the question. Ah, that's what you've said that to me a couple times. You never answer the question, what do you want? I get it now. It takes me a minute, but eventually I get there.
Uh-oh.
So Kosh is saying, leave this place. They aren't for you. Leave now. Which a couple times now, Kosh has kind of made these sort of comments like, we're not ready for immortality.
That's true. He has said that.
And there's a comment from Garibaldi: these things are made for atmosphere, not space.
Atmosphere and space, he said. Both.
Oh, atmosphere and space. Sorry, why are they taking offline? What did Sinclair want?
They're changing the firing pattern.
Hmm. Now, one thing you did see in that scene just there is how the X-wing star flurries, star
Furies.
furies, how they were able to quickly rotate and change their speed so they could get the drop on the triangle ship that was attacking them. I think that makes a lot of sense for the way these two ships are designed. That the Star Fury is very much designed to be able to have high space maneuverability. So, you know,
Yes.
object in motions continue in motion until acted on by an outside force. You don't really have that force in space. I mean, you have minor stuff. You do have some solar winds and you have other stuff, but it's minor. So then being able to quickly change the direction of their thrust, like they have high zero G maneuverability, whereas the Doritos, I mean, they could have a high speed of coming in and getting out, but I feel like they definitely wouldn't do well on quick maneuverability. Okay, so she wants to pursue, but he's warning that she might get caught in the backwash, which I hope that's something we get to see at some point in the series. Because I could see, just thinking aloud, as you puncture a hole in the fabric of space, when it closes, I could see that if you're in that area as space returned to normal, it could cause, exploding.
Could be.
It seems like it wouldn't. It'd be kind of like taking a 6 mile long step. You would be stretched infinitely between these two very long distance points, and I imagine you'd kind of it would be a very short lived, miserable experience. I imagine.
Omni, you're right. That was impressive for 1994 Amiga computers. John, it was impressive space battle. I agree. It was very nice.
And I don't know if it was just how they rendered it. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt here. But there was right at the end there was a Dorito ship that you could see how it changed directions, but it kept sliding in the direction of its previous thrust. Like it was going this way and it changed and it kept sliding, which really fits in with what I was talking about, how they wouldn't have that
Yeah.
zero G maneuverability. Or they wouldn't have as good zero G maneuverability. Um, that dirty dog.
Indeed. He wanted power.
But he's getting his comeuppance. He's saying nice nice acting, but the Raiders saying we're not stupid. You think the eye is going to give you authority? No, it's no matter how much authority you have, it's not going to let you take over the Centauri government. We're taking this ship that's big enough to create its own jump point, and we're going to, go off on our own. He's saying with the ransom we can get for this, we can afford to buy one, maybe two more of these ships. That's what made it worth taking the risk we just took. He's saying you're going to send a message to Centauri Prime. They paid our ransom for the eye, but they're not willing to pay your ransom until they have proof that you're alive. And he's saying, you are going home alive, and once you get back, you're going to keep paying us. Blackmail. Well, this is a new thing.
Yeah.
This is a powerful new thing.
Very. And she saw it.
Yeah, John, that escalated quickly.
It did indeed.
Oh, and nice visual there. The station going to shadows. Now, I wonder if she was involved in the deception at all. And he doesn't realize how right he is yet. The eye is gone. It doesn't matter how much they pay, it got blown up. And Londo thinks he's going to be leaving in a few days.
Well, he promised the eye, and he can't deliver. So he thinks his career is over.
I like that door chime. It's peppy. Oh. That's a familiar size box.
Isn't it?
And Rod Sterling there is saying it's a gift from friends you didn't know you had.
Sterling.
Sterling, yeah. Sterling Silver over there.
Ah.
He's saying, how can I ever find you to thank you? Let me buy you a drink. Let me buy you a fleet of drinks. And he says, we'll find you.
That's rather ominous sounding.
Unfortunately, Londo's too ecstatic to really be paying attention.
This is a really interesting scene to start with.
No, Mr. Lindell, I know Rod Serling. I just, as usual, got his name wrong.
They were in the restroom. I don't know if you caught that.
with the ultraviolet. So Garibaldi is saying that Sinclair's position was highly sought after, like by top brass. But the position, all the people they put forward was rejected until they got to Sinclair, and it was Nimbari who gave approval, and that was when they were the first to sign on, but under the provision that Sinclair was the one running it. And she's saying the vision is still there. Yes, you survived for now, but the vision is still there. And she wants to check his paw.
She's sharing the vision.
Yeah, that too. That's certainly a portent. On
I would
me.
say.
Bones, what have I done? But she's saying that we change the future with our words, our deeds, and our beliefs. So it's not a future set in stone.
Yes, Thomas. Trek stole the mind meld from Babylon 5. You're right.
I like those promotional posters you see in the background. Well, that was a busy episode in a good way.
Indeed. Very layered. Had a lot of content. Very well done.
Yeah. So honest, at the beginning of the stream, I mentioned how the Union felt like it slogged on and felt rushed at the same time. This had the exact opposite problem. Or not, excuse me, not problem. This was the exact opposite. It was so well paced, you felt like you got tons of information, and yet you get to the end and you're like, wait, what do you mean the show's over? Like, we still have another 15, 20 minutes, right? Like, they did a great job with the pacing. Definitely wanted more. Yeah, Ifley is saying they introduced the shadows. So, let me get static there for a second, sorry. The shadows. They remind me of the Magog from Earth, not Earth Final Conflict. No, the Andromeda. Yeah.
Yeah.
They also, I want to say, for a passing resemblance to the ship we saw that sees us like ants in Jakar's summary.
Okay.
Like, I don't remember seeing the ship, but just it was just a
They had the giant eyeball.
yeah, the giant, and it was a thing of great radiance, very full of light. And so
I wouldn't classify this ship like that, though.
No, yeah, no. The thing that makes me think of them is
yeah, the Sigma 957 aliens, says Omni.
Yeah, the contrast that you have. So on the one hand, you have this full of light ship with the eyeball in the center, and on this one, you have the spiky dark shadow ship. Both of them super powerful. Clearly, I mean, they one-shotted the Centauri ship that they had given to the Raiders, or the ship that the Centauri had given to the Raiders, not a Centauri ship.
Well, no, the Raiders bought it basically with the money that they got from everything they sold over the last 4 or 5 years. That's what they said.
Oh, okay. I had misunderstood that to being Lord Kiro had given it to them for this specific.
No.
Gotcha. So that's interesting. Just that we're seeing there are at least 2 species that it seems like they are just in a completely different weight bracket from everyone else that we've seen so far. So we're seeing you got the human. Well, I guess technically you have the non-aligned worlds in the UN. We saw how they together had one collective vote, and kind of it seems along with them you had the people from the episode about how you should accept kidney transplants.
The one with kidney transplants?
Well, it was the one with the kid who needed surgery, but they said no.
He
Or
had a blockage in his
airway.
respiratory airways. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's influenced by the idea of,
Kidneys.
well, yeah, because it was influenced by organ donors. So
Okay.
that was the underlying message, behind it. Hey, let's look at this complex issue of accepting organ donations. Uh, so yeah, kidney transplants. So you have that level of people in this series. They try and get
Okay.
help, but they got no power whatsoever. They're the absolute lowest of the low. And then it seems like just barely above them you got humanity in terms of power in space.
Okay.
Humanity at least gets a full seat on the board because we're hosting this station. We've lost four others, but we're clearly not as powerful and technologically advanced as the other species that are around. And then above us, you have the Centauri coming down. You have the Mbari up on top. Basically, you have Jakar's race,
Narn.
the Narn. They seem to be on the upswing. You have the Kosh, who at the very least are neck and neck with the Mbari, but probably a little bit above them. And then you
The
have these two
Kosh.
races. These
The
Kosh is the
Kosh.
ambassador. Yes, his race. The
The
Vorlons.
Vorlons.
Yes,
The
the
Vorlons.
Vorlons.
Yes.
The Koshes. I do that with a family at my church too. I can only ever remember the wife's name. And I go, "Oh yeah, I saw the Rocios." And Amy's like, "No, no, Rocio is the wife's name. You mean the Jacksons?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I saw the Jacksons." And anyway,
Rocio Jackson, what's the
the
difference?
Dolorons, yes, Josh. And then, like, above them, it seems like we have at least these two races, maybe more out there at this point. But it's interesting how we're seeing this tiered structure, and it's interesting because in Star Trek, you have really everyone's really at the same kind of playing field,
Or very close.
and then you'll have like the first contact people, like, oh yeah, they're the people that we're helping in first contact. They're way down here, can't even get close to us. So it's interesting because it makes the universe feel more dynamic in Babylon 5. Because
It does. You're right.
like in real life, if we encountered alien species out there, they would 100% be at different rates of technology. It wouldn't be like, oh yes, all of us came together and oh, we just so happen to share everything and we're all technically plateauing like Star Wars. Also, it's very much like, hey, yeah, we're newcomers on the scene. We got lots of resources, but we're the babies. Retro Cop is saying, in order of technology, human, Narn, Centauri, Mbari, and Vorlon on top. Okay, yeah, that's definitely, yeah. So I guess I had
Yeah.
kind of the Narn and
That's probably
Centauri flipped in my mind. And
definitely the Centauri are above the Narn because they occupied Narn for over 100 years.
it's true. So I guess the reason I was saying that is because it seems like the Centauri are coming down and the Narn are coming up, and so they're kind of like,
It does seem that way, doesn't it? Although, I wonder if things are going to change now. We got the eye back for the Centauri. Is that a symbol of things to come?
a portent or sign, perhaps.
Perhaps. And it seems that Londo has made friends, powerful friends, it seems like.
He may regret those friends. He
He
definitely was
might.
a shady character. Kosh didn't like
Yes,
him.
Rod Sterling, it did seem shady,
Rod
didn't he?
Sterling, yes. So it was a great episode.
Yes.
Gosh,
So
yeah, I'm
so
gonna have
here's
to
a
watch this
here's
again.
oh, you definitely have to watch this again. I watched it twice now today, just today. Watched it to prepare for the stream today, make some
Hmm.
notes, and now I watched it with you. I may watch it again. It's just that good.
I mean, it's and just definitely I could s- I could see this being a mid-season cliffhanger if it was written today. Because you know how
Yeah,
oftentimes they'll do 8 episodes, they'll end on a cliffhanger, and then like 4 months later they'll pick the season back up, and so they'll split the season in
right.
two halves. This would have been a really good mid-season cliffhanger.
And it's just about in the middle of the season.
Yeah,
It's
13 out
episode
of 22.
13, 13 out of 22. So it's just a little past halfway. Now, they did film this toward the end of the season 1 episodes in filming order, and I think it shows in the quality. The
Oh
characters
yeah,
really know each other. They're interacting really well with each other. I think they did a better job with the effects in this episode. It was very effects heavy. I think they saved some money in some other episodes to put the money into this episode for effects.
yeah. And
It was
honestly,
it was
I
just
haven't
really well
seen
done.
I haven't seen how this season ends, obviously, but I
Right.
this could have also worked well as a season finale.
So when this show was going out originally, J. Michael Straczynski, he would interact with the fans. He would get on the internet, which was very young at that point.
Huh.
Uh, he would get on to the different boards and talk with the fans. And he had a funny story. The actor that plays Morden, his name is Ed Wasser,
Okay.
and he said uh, that he saw Ed Wasser the other day and asked him if he had any reaction to his first appearance on the show. And oops, Ed Wasser said that he had one. He was in a florist shop picking up some stuff for a friend who was sick. The proprietor came over and asked, "What do you want?" Ed sort of mumbled about wanting some flowers. "What do you want?" the owner asked again. Ed, still not getting it, said he was looking for some nice stuff for a friend who was sick. "Yes, but what do you want?" the owner asked. At which point Ed finally twigged to what was going on, and he said afterward that it really was unnerving approach, which was kind of the point.
Huh. So he got it from a florist,
He got it from a florist.
or he got it from a drug dealer. I mean, it could have been he walked into a cover. And he's like, "No, you're not getting what I'm putting down, son. Why are you here? What do you want?"
So I want to pose a couple questions for you. Who's the bad guy? Who's the good guy? Is Morden the bad guy? Is Kosh a good guy? Now think about it.
Hmm.
Morden tried to find out what the ambassadors would like and arranged to rescue an important Centauri artifact, the Eye. Morden helped wipe out the crooks, the um, the
The
yeah, the
Raiders.
Raiders. Thank you. And Morden saved Londo's career and asked for nothing in return. And we get the idea, though, that Morden's a bad guy.
Oh yeah.
But Kosh destroys our chances for immortality,
Immortality.
refuses to get involved in the affairs of others, is plainly studying us. He terrorizes one of our main characters, Talia, for unknown reasons. And yet we get the sense that maybe Kosh is good.
We do. We do. And to be fair, like yeah, 100%, the torturing he did of, or the psychological torturing he did of our Deanna Troy character. I'd say I can get her
Talia,
name, but we both
Talia,
know I can't.
Talia
Taya.
Winters.
Yes, Miss Winters. Uh, I'd like to say there's a greater purpose. Like obviously there's a greater purpose, but like it was still a incredibly inappropriate thing to do, even though it does somewhat seem like having her relive that was specifically so he could understand us. And I don't know if they were trying to go for it, but the way they did in the episode, it made me think that what he gleaned from how she responded directly impacted him blowing up the lady doctor's ship later, who was offering immortality. Like something
That's
about the way they
why.
wrote it made me feel like those two things were linked together. Um, but at the same time,
Because
like he did keep immortality from us, but he also kept us from uh, killing
he said we weren't.
thousands.
He said we weren't ready for immortality.
Yeah, at the very least, not that way of getting it. Because the way we would have to get it was, what was the number she gave the Deathwalker lady for how many people had to be murdered to make one
I think she
vial?
just said someone had to die in order for someone to live. I think that was a 1-to-1 ratio.
1 to 1, but just the
I think
knowledge
so.
that this would create a Thanos situation. Okay, yeah,
Right.
1 to 1, but half the population. So yes, he did keep immortality from us, but he also kept a you know genocide on a galactic level from happening.
It's true.
And there's something about the way Morden, Morton,
Morden.
Morden, Morden.
Morden.
There's something about the way Morden interacted with both Jakar and Londo that seemed like he was pulling from them their darkest desire. So it didn't feel like they were just okay. With Jakar, it seemed natural, but once you got to Londo, it kind of reframed what happened, the interaction with Jakar, where it almost seemed like they weren't just, oh yeah, I'm going to tell this random guy this incredibly dark thing I want, which as an ambassador would never tell to anyone. So it seemed like he was drawing this from this. Let me tap into your darkest, not just darkest, deepest desires, and those secret things you don't want other people to know, but like your most evil instinct. I'm going to tap into that, and I'm going to draw it out so that you get your mind on the most base evil thing you can think of, so I can then encourage you toward that dark path.
Right.
Is I mean, the fact they kept having him be
You
in
got to.
shadow in the evil lighting or evil music didn't help his case any.
That's true. But the characters wouldn't hear the music. But I'm wondering the scene with Dolores.
Yes.
Did Morden actually go into shadow? Did it really get dark around him? Or was that just her perception of him?
Interesting. I'll have to watch it again. My take would be that's more of her perception on him.
That's kind of what I get out of it too, but kind of wonder.
Also,
And
very interesting
why
that,
did the
yeah,
triangle form on her forehead again?
that's exactly what I was about to say. That there's
Is
something
this
about
some sort of Morden detector? Rod Sterling detector?
Rod Sterling. Yes, the sterling silver came out on her forehead.
There you go.
It's connected. Yeah, Mephisto, the poor and helpless would have been the first to die for that immortality. Absolutely. Like that is human
And
nature.
she said, "They're here." She knows something.
Patrick is saying it's
And
a great episode. Glad he joined to watch it live. Now going to catch the last 90 minutes of sleep. Thanks for joining us, Patrick. You get some good rest.
take care, Patrick. Thanks for joining us.
So yeah, excellent episode. Just, I mean, full marks. Full marks, Babylon 5. Well done.
Yeah, they're at full tilt in this episode, and this is not the best it gets. It gets better. We have a few bumps in the road, but it gets better.
Like, the last episode, it wasn't, but it almost felt like a bottle episode. Which,
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
it probably was. Yeah,
if you guys aren't familiar with that term, it's when you've spent all your budget elsewhere in the series, and the producers are saying we need an episode that is extremely low cost. It's the ones where you get the like a clip show, or Um, things don't
Where
really.
they use the existing sets to save
Yeah,
money. They don't create new sets. They don't have many guest stars, that sort of thing. It's the main cast. Although in that
it's
episode they did have a few people that they didn't have before.
yeah, and a bottle episode isn't necessarily like a guarantee to be a bad episode. You can do a lot of bottle episodes where like everything takes place in one place. Um,
Oh yeah.
for instance, everything takes place aboard a runabout. The entire episode, your characters are stuck in the runabout trying to figure out how to get out. Um,
I'll tell you a great one.
yeah.
It's not Star Trek. It's Doctor Who. David Tennant, Midnight. Stuck on
Oh,
the little
yes.
train thing.
That that was amazing.
That was an amazing episode. Very Twilight Zone like. We're talking about Rod Serling here.
And just when you get to the end and you realize no one had ever said her name,
Yes. Yes.
because someone sits there and goes, "Well, what's her name? Did anyone know her name?" And like no one knows it, and you realize the entire episode, like you don't even see her name tag.
No, you don't.
And so even when you watch it later, you don't get to know her name. So well done. I feel
Alexis
like
says that was a creepy one, and it was very creepy.
yeah, I feel like the Galileo 7 would have technically have been a bottle episode. Very much a there are two places it took place on, and you jumped back and forth between
Yeah,
those two
pretty
locations.
much. Yeah.
Um, less on the good side. There's an episode in TNG season 2 where Riker is having the metal pins in his brain and triggering different memories.
That was a clip show.
Tapestry. No. No, Tapestry's
No,
later on.
Shades of Gray. Shades of Gray.
Okay. See, I thought about that at first. I'm like, no, that's not right, Matt. They had a better name than Shades of Gray.
No,
I
it
was wrong.
was Shades of Gray.
Uh,
And
very
Omni's confirming it in the chat.
yeah. So that was a bottle episode, but it was a horrible one. Miss Lundell saying
Uh,
drumhead.
John DeMarco saying duet.
Ooh, wonderful one.
Duet was
Yes.
great.
Drumhead, very good one.
Yes, I
I
agree.
guess in the same vein, Court Martial from
Yeah,
TOS.
yeah. You could say that was a bottle show.
Uh,
They didn't make many new sets for that. The
yeah.
courtroom.
So I mean, there's lots of ways you can do a bottle episode and be great. I felt like last week's episode just had that.
Word? I don't think it means what you think it means.
Thank you, Joe Biden, for your donation. Uh, he's saying
Uh-oh.
TKO is the best episode of Epsilon 5. I was asked to be in it, but my acting can't compete with Roger Starbucks, so I went to Delaware. Hell Kuroga, number 22. Good night, Michael and LGG. Oh, that is such a throwback. If y'all have never been on Nerd Fights, that's what Michael goes by now, right? Or does he?
Well, he's still going by the name Salty, but his channel is Nerd Fights.
Okay, so the YouTube channel Nerd Fights. 5 years ago, it was known as the Anti-Trekker channel, and he would do these really fun live streams, in which when you donated, you could ask for a clip, and his son, uh, he would do these hilarious animations, just wonderful animations. And so you could ask for them, and he'd throw up a quick transition, and you get to watch the clip. And the more you donated, the longer clip you could select.
Right.
But we all had our favorites. It was well done. Unfortunately his computer died, and he lost all of them.
He's recovered some of them.
I mean, technically, with enough time and patience, he could go through his old live streams and rebuild the library, but
Good.
He's moved away from that format. He's grown as a streamer. Hey, Gorillas, how you doing?
So, do you think the Raiders are done? They lost most of their ships. They lost their command ship. Will they be back?
I think they're going to be back. I
Okay.
think that is too good of a plot point to have them just permanently gone. I think that they're going to kind of come up again and again. It's kind of my thought on it. 'Cause I feel like he mentioned that they had other cells. They weren't the entirety of the Raider organization.
I think I missed that. I'm not
I may
saying
have
he
been
didn't say
mishearing
that.
things.
I'm not saying he didn't say it, but I missed it if he did.
I'll have to watch it again.
I'll have to watch the episode again.
Yeah,
It's such a good episode.
it really is. And Thomas is saying he especially loved those movie streams Salty did with someone, but that but that other guy had to cancel. Yeah, just imagine the nerve of that guy. What's up with him? That guy needs to do more gaming streams too.
Yeah, that
He's
would be
such a
nice.
slacker.
Yeah, I'll have to talk to that guy. He may get coshed. Now, I don't know if you noticed, there was a bit of dialogue toward the end of the episode where they said that Kosh reported his encounter suit was damaged.
Oh, I did miss that. Yeah, 100%.
It just occurred to me that we didn't talk about that. So I wonder what happened. Was it damaged in the battle, or was it something else?
Yeah, I would assume there was a battle we didn't get to see happening at the same time.
Oh, we did see Mr. Morden in close proximity to Kosh.
Indeed.
Or is that Vorlon of the Kosh race?
Yeah, the Koshes, absolutely.
Hey, Arabic.
Yeah.
It's good to see you.
Hey, Arvik, how you doing, man? Thomas saying you're late. No, he's right on time, Thomas. A wizard never arrives late. Neither does
Josh
a
Street.
Romulan.
Josh Street. I wasn't going to take it any further than that.
But no, if I had heard that scene, my assumption, 100%, like he hasn't spoiled anything. My assumption is that he and, I almost said Mordo. That's a different series altogether. Gosh, it's getting worse.
Rod Sterling.
Me and Mordon. I would assume that Kosh and Mordon got into a fight, and that somehow this guy was able.
Morden.
Somehow Morden was able to actually damage Kosh. So that's, and then also hearing that his suit was damaged, I'm assuming it was Morden. It makes me think that the reason that one lady's, the seer's visions didn't come true, I feel like it's because of Kosh. I feel like Kosh's battle with Morden was able to alter things such that the station wasn't destroyed. Like just hearing that one line, his suit was damaged, and knowing that somehow they avoided things, that's my take on how on Earth that happened.
Well, Kosh told him that they are not for you.
Yes.
Who are they exactly?
I would assume it's all about us. It's about the humans. That'd be my assumption. But in general, I would assume, like how I talked about that tier structure, it'd be everyone on the human tier, the Narn, the Centauri, the humans, and kind of all the unaffiliated worlds would be my take on that. I feel like he wouldn't be including the Minbari. I feel like he wouldn't be including himself in that statement.
Well, J. Michael Straczynski, since you did mention it, on Usenet back in the day, he did say that it was specifically the humans that Kosh was referring to.
Okay.
So the humans are not for Mr. Morden.
Interesting. And we've already established in the previous episode, not the previous, a previous, was it Parlance of Dreams? Is that where we saw that other eyeball race one?
No,
Or
I
was
think
it
that was Mind War,
Mind War? Okay.
the one
Um,
with sure.
so we've established that Jakar and perhaps the Narn in general are somewhat aware of the next tier up on in terms of power. So I kind of wonder if some of the races have already made, aware of it or not, have made an allegiance with some of these higher tier powers.
Interesting. We'll see if you're right.
Yeah,
I'm sure it'll come up.
yeah, exactly. They're not just going to drop a plot point. Like this seems to be the central plot point that we're going to be exploring. And what's amazing
Now
is
the
that
planet Sigma 957 that was in Narn space, so that is
hmm,
why they know about the eyeball.
what's interesting is I don't think we're going to get a resolution to it this season. Like the way Babylon 5 is written, I think they're going to actually be able to carry this plot line somehow over the course of 5 seasons. Like that's my gut. That modern shows, we can't even start an 8 episode long season and have the same plot point from episode 1 to 8. Like all of New Trek, they
Right,
changed
right.
to a new thing by episode 5.
Yep, they usually do.
But somehow, I think this is for 5 seasons going to be building up step by step. Uh, this power struggle going on between humans and this next tier up on this power scale, and who we're going to side up with. Why do they want us? Why are they trying to destroy Babylon 5? Why does he want to pull up these darkest desires and really fuel the flames of war between the Narn and the Centauri? I think that's going to be really what we focus on. And I think they're just going to drip it and keep us wanting more for 5 wonderful seasons. We'll find out.
We will find out.
Uh, for next week, TKO, total knockout.
Are you going to be available next Monday? I know you were talking you wouldn't be.
You're right. I'm not going to be. I'm going
That's
to
what I
be.
thought. Now
I'm going to be
Thomas is
still at
going
youth
to
camp.
Thomas is saying skip it. Now I know that Omnicast is going to say, "Are you nuts? We're
Probably.
skipping it."
So we're not going to skip it. Not unless there's an episode order
No,
mix up.
that
Okay.
should be the next one.
So yeah, the next one we watch is going to be TKO, which I assume stands for total knockout. So we just had a Garibaldi centric episode. Like when I think about someone who's gonna go boxing and stuff, be sparring in general, Garibaldi is the one I think about. But we just had an episode focused on him. At the same time, if I'm thinking, what if they're doing a play on words and total knockout isn't about fighting? Well, total knockout is what you'd call a very attractive woman back in the 90s. She was a total knockout. But again, I think that would be a Garibaldi focused episode.
He does seem to hit on the women, doesn't he?
He does. He does. So, uh, or triple knockout, not total knockout, triple knockout. In this episode, we got to expand more on Sinclair, try and figure out about the hole in his head, and how the Mbari seem to be related to that. Would be carrying around along that plot line? I don't think so. We haven't had an Ivanova. Well, no, we have had an Ivanova centric, not centric, but she did factor into one of the early on episodes with her dad dying.
Right.
But I feel like it's been a while. So let's say this is going to be an Ivanova focused episode. And what is she doing? Something about a total knockout, a triple knockout. She's not going to be boxing. I don't see that.
Thomas says TKO means technical knockout.
Okay. Would you believe I wasn't a boxer?
Neither was I.
Texas is saying, I'll tell you, Matthew, you're absolutely correct and completely wrong. I love when that happens. Thank you. I'm assuming that's not talking about my guesses for the episode, but just the power tier stuff. I don't know. I think it's going to be focused on Ivanova, and she's going to be struggling with someone from her past. They're going to show up. I don't think this would be a Talia-centric episode.
Oh,
It's been a while since we really dealt with her, though.
We did have an episode where Ivanova had somebody show up from her past.
That's kind of the Babylon 5 formula this season.
Yeah, you're right. It's happening quite a bit.
I guess it could technically be focusing on Sinclair. I don't know, guys. I'm drawing a blank on this one. I'm gonna stick with Ivanova. She's having to wrestle with some shady connection of hers from the past, but she's not gonna go down for the count. Not even on a technical knockout. In fact, I'm gonna say this, that I think that instead of it being a true boxing match, I think the technical knockout is going to be a comment Garibaldi makes about how no matter how long someone gets you down, you never let them get you on a technical knockout. You keep getting right back up again.
Garibaldi. I love it.
That's my guess. There we go. And if I can't remember it last week, I'm certainly not going to remember it 2 weeks from now. So hopefully... Me from the future watches this and I can remember. Oh yeah, TKO is going to be a reference that Garibaldi makes. There we go. Well, Jeff, final thoughts about this night's episode.
Babylon 5 is rocking. This was just a great episode. Best episode so far, and most important episode so far. And it just gets better.
I fully agree that tonight was peak form. Greatly enjoyed it. Look forward to my rewatch. Can't wait to see what happens next. I can't believe we still have, what is this?
We have 9 more this season.
9 more. Wow. I can't believe we have 9 more episodes left. I can't, like... You get to this episode and you're like, where do you go from here? So I'm greatly looking forward to it, and we'll find out.
Omni. I'm not sure about that one, Omni. Not sure about that one. Omni says, yes, most important episode until TKO.
So guys, we won't see you next week, but we will see you, I believe, in 2 weeks at the Hour of Scampering, and I look forward to it.
As do I.
Take care,
Thanks
everyone.
for joining us.
Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to hit that like button and share it with your friends. If you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you will. And be sure to hit that bell icon to be notified of all the updates I do on this channel. If you want to support the work I'm doing here, then I hope you'll consider becoming one of my Patreons, where you'll get early access to all kinds of videos. And until the next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.